It's big, it's bold, and it's ready to go off-road. Lexus's all-new GX SUV is finally here. What's up, folks? I'm Dave Underkoffler, editor-in-chief of Autolist.com, back with another one-week test drive. This week's victim is the 2024 Lexus GX. It's been completely redesigned for this model year, and it replaces a version that's been around since 2010. This new model packs a twin-turbo V6 under the hood, bold new styling on the outside, and all-new tech on the inside. So is all that going to be enough to top rivals like the BMW X5, Mercedes-Benz GLE, or Genesis GV80? Let's go spend a week with one and find out. All right, let's start with a walk around of this new GX. A couple of things to note: there are 3 trims available. There's a premium, the luxury, and then the overland. And then within each of those, there's a regular model and then the plus. The plus is like a half step up in terms of amenities. We are testing a premium plus, so it's about $69,000 to start. We've got a few options that move the sticker price up to about $71,500, and that includes destination. Another thing to note, this is a 7-seater, 3-row SUV, as is the luxury trim, but if you go all the way up to the overland, that is a 5-seater, just has 2 rows of seats, so just something to note. Very different styling versus the previous GX. It's big, it's bold, and it's kind of polarizing. I've heard all kinds of descriptions of this. What do you guys think? Do you like this styling? Or do you think it's a little ungainly? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. In terms of size, it's definitely bigger than the previous GX. The wheelbase is up by more than 2 inches. It's almost 4 inches wider and almost 3 inches longer. And we'll move to the back here. Another big change from the previous GX. Owners will know that the door used to swing kind of this way, right? Now it is more of a conventional hatch. So that's kind of nice. 3 rows, as I mentioned. We've got one folded here. You can see the space. I'll get back here a little bit later in the video and show you how much room there is for adults. There you can see the difference there. We have power folding seats. I'm not going to demonstrate it because it takes forever, but it's always funny to me when luxury models have power folding seats. These are so much slower and more inconvenient than just manual seats, but it is what it is. Another nice thing, we'll close up this hatch. I want to show you one cool thing about the window. So you can close the hatch there, and then right here, there's a little button. You hit that, and this glass opens up. So that's a little nice versatility, more functionality. So that's pretty cool. In terms of styling, I'll show you the back. The horizontal light bar, it's very much the trend these days. Finally, in terms of platform, this shares its underpinnings with Lexus's larger LX SUV. It also shares it with the Toyota Land Cruiser. This is basically a rebadged Land Cruiser, and you can tell sort of in the proportions and in the profile. Very similar. Also shares a platform with Toyota's Sequoia. So this is basically everything in Toyota and Lexus's SUV body on frame lineup, it shares with that. All right, let's take a look under that hood. All right, looking under the hood, this is one area where there were big changes made to this new version of the GX. Previously, it had a thirsty V8, and that is now gone. It's replaced by a 3.4-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine that makes 349 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. Those are both big gains over that old V8. It's now hooked up to a 10-speed automatic transmission and standard full-time 4-wheel drive. The EPA rates it at 17 miles per gallon in the city, 21 on the freeway, and 15 overall. And it can also tow up to 9,000 pounds. That's pretty impressive. And finally, this is the only powertrain currently available in this new GX, but Lexus has promised that a hybrid version is coming soon. All right, now let's take a look at the interior of this GX. A lot of changes from the previous generation. I like what they've done. It's a really nice blend of luxury and tech. Big thing you're going to notice right here, 14-inch display for the infotainment system, and then a 12.3-inch configurable display for the instrument panel. And ignore the check engine light, I've just got it in accessory mode. This has wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You can see I've got CarPlay pulled up here. One thing I like is that even though you have CarPlay displayed, this menu of buttons does stay there. You can cover it up by hitting that, but it's nice to have that functionality. I'll just show you some of the other screens here. And then you've got the climate below. You can cover up the climate by hitting that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, climate functions here. You have physical knobs for the temperature. I like that. You've got a physical volume knob. But yeah, otherwise pretty nice layout here. Very easy to find what you're looking for. We are in a Premium Plus, so we've got heated and cooled seats plus a heated steering wheel. I also like that you've got this menu. It just sort of shows frequently used buttons, and you can sort of slide through there. So that's nice. Rather than needing to go through a bunch of settings or menus, that's just right there and easy to find. And then down below, a few more physical buttons. We've got more charging, lots of USB ports. You've got one hiding in there. We also have wireless smartphone charging right here. We've got more cubbies and storage in there. Physical shifter, that's nice. Doesn't like that I did that when it's not on. And then for your four-wheel drive controls, that's right there. Otherwise, yeah, nice cabin. Lexus likes to sort of spread out their buttons, so there are sort of buttons everywhere, but it's generally pretty easy to find. We also have a heads-up display. You can't really see it, but on our Premium Plus, got a pretty decent moonroof there. And then the seats, pretty comfortable. Faux leather, good for a long drive. So there you have it. All right, now let's take a look at second row space in this GX. If you've seen our videos before, you know the drill. I put the front seat to where I would have it. If I'm sitting up there, I'm 6'1", so basically I'm sitting behind myself. And as you can see, I've got more than enough room for my legs, my knees, my feet. Headroom is great, so that's pretty cool. The GX seats do not slide fore and aft. Some of its competitors do offer that, but the seat does recline. So that's kind of nice. And then in terms of comfort, I've got my own climate control back here and heated seats for both of the outboard positions. All right, so just how much space is in that third row, especially for adults, and how to get back there? Let's go find out. Now, I haven't done this yet, so you're gonna have to bear with me. It might not be super graceful, but let's try it out. First thing we're gonna do, flip the seat out of the way. Close the door and fold that seat. Okay, so the verdict. All right, so headroom is a little tight, so I need to slouch down just a little bit, but legroom is actually pretty impressive. There's good room for my knees, not tons of space for my feet, but you can make it work. These seat cushions are kind of low to the floor, so it does mean your knees are a little high, but generally, this could work for taller adults in this third row. I also like, there's a good amount of width, so I feel like I could sit next to another adult and we'd be perfectly comfortable side by side. So overall, this isn't too bad. If you do need a true three-row crossover, Lexus does have the new TX, and we reviewed it right here. It's a nice crossover. It's definitely better if you're gonna be using the third row all the time. But this GX, whether it's for kids or the odd adult back here occasionally, I definitely think it could work. All right, next up, driving impressions. And as I mentioned earlier, this new generation of GX swaps out the old V8, and in its place is a twin-turbo V6. This V6 now makes 48 more horsepower and 140 more pound-feet of torque than the old V8, and that additional power is excellent in this GX. It's very much appreciated. This is a very powerful car. It never feels slow. It's pretty heavy, but all of that power is certainly enough to get this vehicle up and going. I really enjoy that. It pairs really well with the 10-speed automatic transmission. The shifts are seamless, they're quick. So overall, a really impressive luxury experience in this GX. It's one of the highlights of this new SUV. I also really like the driving position. You sit up pretty high, but not too upright. You've got a great view of the road. Visibility is great through all corners. The truck sort of has a squared off profile, as I was showing you earlier, and that gives you a really good sense of where it is at all times. May not be a big deal on road, but when you're off-roading and you're going through some tight squeezes, that's certainly going to be appreciated. So yeah, really enjoying visibility. I feel like so many cars and trucks today are getting sleeker and more low profile, so it's nice to get into something that you can see very easily out of. That said, it's not all perfect when driving this GX. Probably my biggest complaint about the truck is that it is actually a truck. It shares a platform with Toyota's trucks and its other SUVs. This is a body-on-frame setup, so the ride quality feels like a truck many times. Lexus did a really good job tuning it as best they could, but there's only so much they could do. So if you are gonna be doing some long road trips, or if you're gonna be driving in the area with rougher roads, I would definitely recommend looking at Lexus's TX. That's a car-based three-row crossover. The ride quality and the driving experience in that is gonna be much smoother. This is good if you're gonna need to be towing, or if you're gonna be doing some off-road, but generally, I think I prefer how the TX feels on the road. Finally, another downside to the body-on-frame setup of this GX is fuel economy. I know earlier I said it was rated at 17 in the city and 21 on the highway. We've been testing it so far for about 200 miles in about mixed use, and so far we're seeing 16.3 miles per gallon. And I actually have been using some restraint. Usually I have a bit of a lead foot. I haven't been honking on it too hard, so that's not great. It's another area where a larger crossover may be better suited for your needs if you don't need the towing or the off-road capability of this GX. All right, folks, there you have it. Our 1-week test drive of the all-new 2024 Lexus GX. Overall, we really do like this vehicle. We think Lexus has made some great updates to it, particularly this powertrain, a twin-turbo V6 that is absolutely a sweetheart. We also really like the size. It's the perfect size for daily use, and then you have that third row that adults can fit in when you need it. But it's not perfect. We don't love the exterior styling, the ride quality, or the fuel economy, and we think that Lexus's new TX 3-row crossover is going to suit the needs of more buyers. So for reviews or listings of this GX or anything else you're shopping for, new or used, be sure to check out Autolist.com. And before you go, like and subscribe to this channel so you can get alerts on all of our future updates. We'll see you out there.